All right, so we're live. We'd like to welcome you to the Mad Maker Show. And folks, today we have Adam McMillen here. Adam?
Hello.
Jamie Page is moderating for us. And if you guys have any questions, you're welcome to ask in the chat. And let's go ahead and get started. Actually, before we get started next week, just so that you know, what I want to do here is a free flow, right? Ideas rushing in, conversations, comments. No need to be stuffy about it. Promote and push people that we might not know much of and get to know them better, that do cool stuff, you know, that drop our jaws. So next week, we're going to have Bobby Duke, okay? We don't have a set date for that, but he'll be on the next show. And by the way, I'd like to shout out Steve Nealon from Harnell Media, and we have links below in the description, and I'm sure JP will add those links as we go. And a special shout out to Chad for these awesome mugs. If you've heard of Mancrafting TM, he sent out these mugs. And JP, show yours there.
Actually, I actually made mine.
Oh, well, cool. I'm sure Chad will be happy to hear that, dude.
But it did come from Chad's shop.
All right, right on. And finally, so yeah, next week, Bobby Duke. And I do want to shout out Woodworker631 for supporting me over on Patreon as well. So tell us a little bit about you, dude, what you do. Give us a lowdown.
I pretty much work by myself, making signs for local businesses and other things that people care to hire me to do. I'm kind of a hired gun, I guess.
The first time I saw you was in one of the groups, and you had posted, I believe that's the first thing. Actually, it might not have been the first thing, but I think I reached out to you and said, dude, what a freaking awesome build. You were modeling, and I don't know if at the time you were done with it or you were, I don't know what, but you were modeling this biplane, like the skeleton of it, dude. And
yeah.
I just sat back, jaw dropped, dude. It just out of hand. So that was for us. What was that about?
It's a restaurant called Flyover. I kind of tacked myself into a corner there with the owners, and we were looking at their logo, and we kept talking about prices and what I could do and stuff like that, and they just kept asking, like, well, what could you do with more money? What could you do with more money? And I was like, well, if you want a freaking plane sticking out of the side of your sign, we can do that. And they said, well, how much is that going to cost? I was like, I don't know, like $10,000 or something. They're like, okay, let's do it. All right. Okay. Oh, yeah. All right, let's do it. And then on the way home, I was like, what the hell did I just agree to do? I don't know how to build a freaking plane. and turns out it was a lot easier than I thought it was. I just bought some plans off of eBay for about like $12 for a large scale, RC plane build. And I just bought those plans and kind of modified them to fit my needs. I didn't need to fly, so that made it easier, and just kind of went from there.
Dude, what so you were driving home, you're like, what did I just do? You threw out a number and they were like, yeah, we want this.
Yeah.
Insane, dude. So you took and you made the skeleton of it completely, and it's to this day it's sitting up there.
Yep. Still there.
You pass by it a lot or no?
Yep. Yeah, I just went and changed out all the letters, the lights on the letters to made them LEDs and stuff.
Oh wow, dude. So that's the first thing that I seen, but then you started doing some other crazy stuff. I don't want to touch on that yet. What I want to do, I mean, it could be free flow, but I've got stuff to ask you, but what I want to focus on for the moment is just to give us a picture of where you're at. I don't know if you mentioned that prior. Where you live.
Oh, I'm in Columbia, Missouri.
And did you grow up there? I don't think, no.
No, I'm from western Nebraska, about half an hour from Wyoming. I grew up there, born and raised. Moved out here about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I got a job at the local music venue. That's an old, it's an old theater, like built in 1927. It's like an old vaudeville. And I was a bouncer there for a while, and the place was just a kind of a dump, and everything was in disrepair, and it was a beautiful building. And I was, raised doing construction, painting, and all kinds of stuff, as well as, kind of a classically trained artist, I guess. And I talked the owner into letting me start doing some restoration on the place, just little projects, And fast forward to about 5 years later, I repainted the whole place, pretty much restored everything in there that I could. And when I ran out of projects there, I started working for myself and started doing this.
So so it just came natural to you. You grew up seeing that, right, in your family, and it evolved into what you're doing now.
Yeah, my mom pretty much made me. she wouldn't have it any other way.
And I do see that for you guys that want to find out more, I guess they could look you up on YouTube. I've got links below in the description.
Yeah, I haven't done any videos for a few years. I've been way too busy, hustling, I guess, and doesn't afford me a lot of time to do videos. So any of those videos are pretty old. I do have plans for at least 2 videos this fall, though, that I've been wanting to do for a while. So stay tuned for those.
A lot of makers, they're just busy building stuff and working with clients, and there's a balance between YouTube and the focus where you want to focus. The video thing is very important, I feel, because, well, number one, it stays up there for people to see, and it does help sell. You could show customers, and it's very artistic too. But your Facebook page, you actually show your projects in progress. Could they find you there at McMillen Industries?
Yeah, and there's actually a call me now button on there. So if you're trying to hire me, you could just hit that button. It'll go straight to my cell phone. My preferred daily updates sort of thing is Instagram. That's where I usually post my daily process. With the Facebook page, I usually just when the project's all done, I'll compile all the photos and put an album up on there. Just as it's kind of my portfolio.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. By the way, JP, if the guys and gals out there have any questions for Adam, maybe they know him, maybe they don't, or any questions in general, right? They're welcome to it when you see fit.
Steve Twidell was just giving you €10.
Oh, Steve, dude, thank you for the love, dude.
So I've posted Adam's YouTube channel over there and told everyone to sub to him.
You're too kind, Steve. Dude, stop that. What else is going on out there?
Not a lot. They were worried about the pictures to start off with. I had a few messages on Facebook about no chat, but they obviously found the right link. But everything's good at the moment.
Okay, cool.
So you're good to go.
Okay, so another thing, dude. So the thing that struck me about you, and I've always mentioned it every time you post something, because So the show's called The Mad Maker, right? And I've always thought, you know, people that create things from nothing, or have a notion of something and bring it to life, have they're slightly skewed. You know, they're missing a couple of bolts. Would you say that that's true for you to some degree?
Maybe a few too many bolts.
Well, it comes with its pros and cons, right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't feel as much.
Well, you know, so that's the one thing I picked up from your posts, right? And this was a couple of years ago, maybe, or maybe a year and a half ago. Is that, well, not that you're insane, but that I related to the way you would write a post, and because there's a lot that's said when someone writes something. I tend to write quirky stuff and post crazy videos to a degree, and people get a certain impression stuff, but you have a surreal sort of, you know, side to you as well. Is that fair?
Yeah, I guess, I suppose.
Surreal, sort of psychedelic, sort of off the cuff. I don't know. I think, you know, I see these signs, and then I see these sculptures. Like right now, you're building this armature that cascades down.
Want to see it?
Yeah, what the heck's going on? Show us.
It's outside. Still got. It's an armature for a sign. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, try and hold it steady so that the folks out there can.
It's kind of dark out.
Yeah, but we see it. It's curved up, and it's sort of like a what you call the stinger of a scorpion.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a armature for a sign. So it's gonna hold a sign like inside of it. I made a smaller one too, but I'm still working on. I'll show you that one. It's see.
What a trip, dude. And so
Yeah.
the sign's going to be hanging from that?
Yeah, it's gonna be inside the you know.
What a trip, dude. And what's that? What's that? Is it a secret, or what's that? Where's that going to be?
For a place called Prairie Garden Trust. It's like a privately owned like hiking trails place. It's really manicured, and I don't really know much about it. I've been there, but it's just a private hiking area. It's a trust.
What a trip, dude.
Yeah, it's been a fun.
We've got a question from the chat from Steve Wardell. He wants to know what your favorite tool to use is.
My most profitable tool is a jigsaw, I'd say. I do a lot of work with the jigsaw.
I've never heard that as an answer before. I'll be totally honest with you. It's normally the bandsaw or the table saw or jigsaw that's got to be there first.
Yeah, you can do a lot with a jigsaw. I used to hate the jigsaw until I figured out how to use it. Then I was like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, I've actually heard that quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was, I can't remember, it could have been Bob Claggett that was like, hated the jigsaw.
I actually sent him a message giving him shit about it. Like, man,
oh, did you? Yeah. And I think then he decided he got a good jigsaw. And then he kind of likes it, I guess, now.
I got the DeWalt jigsaw. it's nice. You gotta just set them settings right, and makes all the difference.
Yeah.
I did a big old awning for a tattoo shop that I took way longer than I thought I was gonna, but I did that whole thing with a jigsaw, and it turned out pretty great.
Great stuff.
Now, a lot of people out there and in syndication afterwards will probably have, like, if somebody wants to get into sign making, and you just fell into it, right?
Yeah, I never even wanted to do it. In fact, after the first few signs, I was trying to reject being a sign maker and like, nah, I make other stuff too, you know. But whatever, as long as there's money, I'll do it.
People are digging the signs, right?
Yeah, I've been. This is my busiest year yet. Every year is my busiest year, it seems like, and I guess signs is where it's at.
So you also do sculptures. I saw you also later on after I seen the playing. You did, I guess you, and Chad from Mancrafting was asking about do you know Chad?
I don't think
Chad,
so.
he's out in Georgia, and we were on a hangout, and he had mentioned, because I had mentioned we're going to interview you, and he said, oh, let me go check out his page, and then he saw, you know, that you had made a cylinder and welded it up together.
Yeah, that was for a city installation. I made spheres out of washers that are all welded together. I'm taking that same concept and doing body casting on nude models, and so I'm going to try to make a female form out of washers or chain or something like that. So this past year I've casted probably 3 or 4 models, and getting ready to do my final casting that will actually become a sculpture. Up till this point, I've just been practicing. But
And you've posted. The cool thing is, by following you on your Facebook and on Instagram. I'm not much. I should focus more on Instagram, but I've gotten to see people watch, and people get inspired, and you're like, damn, man, I wish I could. I'd like to try that. That's how it is. But I did see a couple of the castings. You had a lady, sprawled out on a table, and you were like, what was it? What were you doing?
Yeah, doing a plaster bandages.
Yeah,
casting them.
It's funny that Eli says that people look and people are inspired and sort of like, I need to try that, because just before you actually came into the hangout, we were looking at your channel and talking, and I mentioned about the spray paint art that you was doing.
Yeah.
On there, and I was like, I've got to try that, and Eli was like, well, I've got to try that. And we were kind of like that. I mean, that is some real cool stuff. Every time I see that on YouTube, I find myself watching one video, then I was like, oh, he's got another one. And I always end up watching loads of them.
Yeah, those space paints are pretty fun to do. They're just kind of off the cuff, free form.
Yeah.
Art,
So what sort of paint is it you use for that? Because Eli said something about they don't use gloss or something.
No, you do use gloss, but they all gotta be like, they all gotta be the same kind of paint, like the
same brand.
Yeah, but like if you mix the wrong kinds, they start,
reacting.
Yeah, that's all about the dry time, I think. When one drops on top of one that's not dry, it contracts and stuff like that. So you gotta watch it.
Yeah.
And you get the glossy stuff.
Well, there you go. Eli, you lied to me. Is another challenge you wanted to beat me at?
Well, I had no, because see, there's a thing. There's a dude. He's funny as heck. On YouTube, and he's down in Mexico, Acapulco or something, and he he has a huge following, and he sits out in those tourist areas, and he's got a spray can, all the spray cans and all, and he'll take the clear, and he'll light it, and he'll burn the whole time. Have you seen that guy?
No, but I do the same thing. I got a video where I'm doing that too.
It's funny because every time this one dude does it, he goes fire, fire, and that's like his trademark, dude. It's what a trip. But the spray art is freaking awesome.
Yeah, I saw one guy, he sprays it on his finger and then lights his finger and then lights the painting on fire with his finger.
Wow. We've got another question from out in the chat. It's actually from Sterling Davis.
Hey, what's up, Sterling?
Sterling, Team Scrollsaw. What do you do to promote your work or business? And he congratulates you on your continued success.
I don't do anything.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. There's another question. I can't remember the guy's name. I know he comes from Canada, but I can't remember his name. It's his name on YouTube is Snow Crusher. He says Mig or
Greg.
Tig.
That's Greg.
Greg, that's it. He says Mig or Tig.
Flux core.
There you go.
Wait a second. What was Sterling's? Sterling said, what about your? What was that again with Sterling?
Sterling said, what did you do to promote your business? And then he congratulated him.
Yeah, that's an accurate, right, McMillen, right?
What was that?
Yeah, your answer was dead on, right? You have to market more out there on YouTube, maybe.
Yeah, I really don't do anything. In fact, I don't even have business cards. I've never had business cards or anything. Just that Facebook page I got and the Instagram. You know, I don't need many clients. I just need 5 or 6 a year, really. You know, I've had way more than that this year, but you know, if I just did, I could get by on one project a month if I had to. You know, so
it's a trip, you know, that you were that they wanted to upscale, you know, with the plane, and eventually it's, can you pop a plane out through the damn thing? And you said sure, and that's just a trip how that worked out.
Yeah.
But it did spring from you working at that one place and fixing it up, and then somebody, right? At the very least, is that a fact or no?
Oh, at the theater?
Yeah.
Yeah, it all kind of sprang from that because I'd never worked alone before. Like, I'd always been a part of a crew or something like that. And by the time I finished painting that whole place, the owner was like, "Man, I can't believe you did that all by yourself." And like, yeah, I wonder what else I can do all alone, you know. And I don't need anybody's help. So now I do. I need to get some employees.
And you recently, was it that you moved to a new shop or?
No, I moved into a house that's about a mile away from my shop. And there's a building out back that I'm getting ready to turn into my metal studio. So I'll keep my existing shop as a general use and woodworking and stuff. And the other place will be my, you know, dirty, grungy metal shop. Also going to put my still in there. I got a 70-gallon still that I'm going to get set up. I haven't touched it for years because I've been so busy, but
well, you had asked about showcasing your shop. I'm interested to. I've seen 360s of it because every now and then you'll post 360 and you'll have your stations and whatnot. But could you give us a little taste of where you're working?
Sure. It's kind of messy, but so I don't know. Here's my TV. I usually just rock out these big 4x8 tables. This is kind of my pride and joy, is this table saw here.
That's nice.
Very nice.
I put a router table in the end of it there.
Bad to the bone, dude.
Thanks. And here's
Hold it steady for a little bit so that the video can catch up. Just let it sit a little bit so we see each area. You got your bandsaw, drill press, chop saw, and what is that? What kind of bandsaw is that?
It's just a Master Force from Menards, out of a lack of better options on what I could get at the time. Here's my welding area / metalworking. Oh, this tool is pretty awesome. I got that at Harbor Freight. It's a shear, a brake, a slip roll, and a ring maker.
Oh wow, dude! How much is that at Harbor?
How much was it?
Yeah.
It was almost $500, I think.
Do they still sell that over there?
Yeah, they do. And this thing here is that's a little it's a jeweler's kiln. So it'll melt gold into liquid.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I got that at a pawn shop. They didn't know what it was when I found it. They only had $100 on it. I was like, that says 3,000 degrees on it. I think I'll take it. So that's pretty much the shop. It's a tiny shop. I wish it was bigger.
Well, it's perfect actually. I work in a much smaller space, and JP.
Yeah, a lot smaller. A lot smaller than Eloy's.
I rent it from this cabinet place. I only pay $250 a month.
Nice.
Yeah. So
if there was no business in an ideal world and you was doing all it for a hobby, would you be woodworker or metal worker? What would be if you had to pick?
I'd be a metal worker probably.
That's a fair choice.
Yeah, it's much more permanent.
Yeah.
I like heavy stuff.
easier to make mistakes.
Yeah. Well, and
you can put it back on.
It's easier to get hired as a metal worker. I feel like I felt it's been easier to make money as a metal worker because there's not a lot of hobbyist metal workers. People don't do it for fun, you know.
Yeah.
In fact, people that do it kind of don't like doing it, you know.
Yeah.
So is there any tips you could give people that you've learned along the way that might be, that working with clients or projects that are just really outside the norm? Anything you could offer all of us out here in YouTube land?
Probably my biggest learning experiences have been agreeing to do things that I don't know how to do and kind of lie, say you can, and then do. As long as you do it, it's not a lie, I guess. Yeah, I mean, there's lie.
That's just gonna set the tempo for the whole show. That's perfect. As long as you fulfill what you promise.
Yeah, I mean.
Greg wants to know if you do any blacksmithing.
That's coming up. I just got a forge. I just got an anvil. I got a whole box of hammers. With that building at my house, I'm getting ready to set that up to be a smithy. So pretty soon I will. I just got a really awesome forge that's, you can make swords in that thing. It's cool. So soon enough I will be. I've done a little bit. I've worked, my friend is a blacksmith and he's taught me a few things, but I'm getting ready to do that.
Since this is a live show, I want to take a moment and mention to the people that have just arrived, we are interviewing Adam McMillen of McMillen Industries. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask them in the chat. We have JP Woodwork. I think you know him. A lot of you guys know him already. And he's moderating the show. What's that now?
I'm a nobody.
Don't say that. That's not true at all. You're a crazy Brit.
Okay, I'll take that.
So, going back to learning experiences and what you could share, have you ever been like burned and made a mistake you couldn't get out of?
No. I mean, I've been in some dicey situations, I guess, but you know, nothing that 24 hours of work can't fix. You know, sometimes you just got to work for 24 hours straight if you can.
Insane. JP, any questions you'd like to ask Adam?
I'm just quickly flicking through. I think they were trying to. I think someone asked where again it was she was from again. Was it Missouri? Is it Missouri you was from?
Yeah, Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I'm also curious. A lot of the guys in the chat belong to some of the groups that we all share in common, particularly the one that Adam belongs to that we're in. How many of them know Adam already, and how many of them are just learning about McMillen at this moment? I'd like to know. I'm sure there's a little delay there for them too, but I'm curious about that. Adam, who hasn't? Do you watch any of the videos from the woodworking community YouTubers?
Yeah, I watch YouTube every day. In fact, I wouldn't do what I do if it wasn't for YouTube. I remember when I finished painting the Blue Note, that theater that I restored. I was unemployed for a good 6 months, that I didn't know what to do, and I was tired of looking for jobs that were $10 an hour, and someday maybe I'd make 15, and I was like, man, this is not, the hell with this, and that's I'm sure it sounds, I'm not the only person to ever say this, but and I watched the Jimmy DiResta video that changed my, and I was like, there it is, that's it, that's what I'm gonna do. Like,
but wait a second, hold on, this is interesting as heck. What video of DiResta did you see that sticks in your mind?
I can't really remember, just because as soon as I discovered him, I watched every single one he had, and I think the first one I ever watched was with the skull ring.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And that was the first one I watched, and I just kept going from there. And then I realized, like, whoa, this guy's a professional. This is what he does for a living. It's not just a hobby, and the fact that he such a diverse types of projects, and it was,
inspiring.
Yeah, it was very inspiring, and it was right then. Then me and my brother found this place and split the rent. He's a glass blower, and all I had was a welder and a grinder and a drill, and that's what I started with. I started making fences and stuff like that, or whatever I could, and you know, little by little. I at a certain point I did the cutoff where I wouldn't do anything that wasn't a creative project, you know, wasn't artistic or anything. I just wouldn't do it, even if I needed the money, you know. Like, no, I gotta draw the line somewhere. And
is that a good idea? Was that a good idea for you? It might not be for someone else, but
yeah, it was for me, just because the town I live in loves, you know, it's really artsy town, and it really set me apart from everybody else. I feel like, you know, I wasn't just a working grunt, you know. I became an artist at that point to other people's eyes, you know.
yeah, it's funny because you say that about DiResta, and I really like what he does. I mean, it's very inspiring. When I was repairing my house that I grew up in, my father had passed, and I had to take over the duties of, you know, doing the repairs, and there was a lot that needed done. I was doing all the stuff, but I didn't particularly think of it as anything creative. Just, you have to do what you got to do to fix stuff.
Yeah.
Everything, right? Attic, electrical, and flooring, freaking cabinets, kitchen cabinets, bathroom, you know, like everything. And then I sat and watched, I sat and watched YouTube and ran across, and I remember this, and I try not to mention it over, you know, overtly, because, you know, everybody does mention it, and you were kind of hesitant, right? Because everybody does mention DiResta, but he kicks butt, you know, frankly. So I'll just say that. But I saw the video where he drives out to the middle of nowhere, chops down a tree,
Yeah.
cuts it in half, drags it back to his shop. He's not talking throughout this was years ago.
Yeah.
And he welds on, like, he makes a chest for a wedding or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, he didn't say a word. He just built the thing, and there you have it.
Yeah.
And that's very inspiring. So yeah, I totally see. He's affected a lot of people, frankly.
Well, and I think the fact that he doesn't talk, it makes it, you know, you don't have to understand English to understand his videos, you know. There's no language barriers. I think has to do with a lot of his successes that he doesn't talk.
That's a good point.
It's actually, I made a comment to Eloy in a hangout a few days ago, and it kind of relates to Jimmy. He doesn't need to talk in his videos. The work does the talk for him.
Well, it's a lot of times I explain to people, like, how do you know how to do this stuff? And like, I just have memories of my hands doing it before, I guess, you know. And that's kind of what Jimmy's videos are like. They're almost like it's what he remembers of it too, you know. Like, I've never explained how I do anything to anyone, nor has anyone ever explained it to me, you know. All I have are the memories in my head of how my hands do it, you know. And I feel like that's why his videos are so effective.
Yeah.
He's almost an avatar, you know.
So who else? So we know that inspiration, and I think that a lot of people, you know, will say the same. Who else have you watched that stands out in your mind?
My favorite, my newest favorite is Wesley Treat.
Okay.
Have you seen him at all?
I don't think so. Weston Treat?
Wesley Treat.
Wesley Treat.
He does some cool stuff. A lot of signs. He's big into like the Sputnik stuff, and he's got a very cool channel, and he's hilarious. I almost met him during the eclipse that we had here. He was like half a mile away from me, and we didn't know it. But yeah, he's been pretty inspiring lately. Just his signs, he does a lot of signs and very cool stuff.
JP, do you have any inspiring YouTube workers from back in the day that popped into, like, stay in your in your mind?
That stay in my mind from back in the day. Oh, from when I first started, from back in the day, obviously Sterling. I know he's out in the chat.
Sterling Davis.
He's the man that got me into the whole woodworking scene. So I can't start anything without mentioning Sterling. Obviously, I can't mention anything without Steve Ramsey, Steve Carmichael, obviously Cole Jacobson. You know, it's all kind of Laney Shaughnessy. You know, it's kind of all are kind of like the I don't like they're all godfathers in their own right.
Yeah.
You know, they're all there at the start of YouTube woodworking, I suppose, or around that sort of time. I think Steve Ramsey was kind of like he is like the godfather of flat woodworking, if you like. I think I don't want to say Carl is like the main man when it comes to wood turning, but he's definitely the one that stayed around. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, them four are the ones that stick out for me at the moment.
Well, how about scroll sawing?
Scroll sawing. Well, obviously you've got Steve Good. I mean, when you think of scroll sawing and names that are like names when it comes to scroll sawing, the top names for me personally when it comes to scroll sawing are Steve Good and Charles Deering. You know, when you put them names together, it's kind of like the patterns that it was said in a hangout once with I mean, Steve Good's patterns, for example, they're brilliant for starters, for people that are just starting out in scroll sawing. You know, they're absolutely brilliant. Charles Deering's patterns, they're very, very detailed. Yes, he is working on getting some for newbies as well. And it was once said in a hangout with Charles Deering, with his patterns, that he could draw a line and I could draw the exact same line, but they would be totally different. You know, there's something about the way he does his patterns that no one can replicate. You know, he's kind of like a master in what he does. You know, but Steve Good and Charles Deering are by far two names that stand out in the scroll saw world, in my eyes, anyway.
Well, let me tell you, just amazing people. I received a package, a gift from Sterling Davis, and I have a video that I have to put out, and it's just jaw-dropping. I'm not going to say what it is until I put it, but it's amazing work, and I'm honored. I am totally honored.
Can I just mention one more name? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
They just come up in the chat. Another person that I actually watched a hell of a lot of, and unfortunately he hasn't put out as many videos as I'd like since, and that's Steve French from Wooden Stuff.
You're right. You're totally right.
I wish he would put out some more videos. I understand he's a busy man.
Yeah.
But Steve put out more videos.
So, you know that, Adam, you know that in scrolling, and obviously, well, in scrolling, frankly, but do you use computer software, Photoshop? You know, you use that for scrolling, you have patterns and whatnot, but do you use that for sign? Do you personally use that for sign making?
Yeah. I have a vinyl cutter that I use, but I actually have a graphic designer that works for me. I make her do all that stuff. I I can do that stuff myself, but I just don't have time. So I have her make all my patterns for me, and there's a local, my steel supplier here. They have a water jet, and I've recently started enlisting them to do all my, CNC stuff, which I used to just do with the jigsaw, but it just takes so much damn time, So, and they're actually pretty reasonably priced, so it makes me more money, So, yeah, I'd like to get an X-carve soon, because I've been working a lot more on aluminum than steel lately. So I'm considering getting an X-carve or something of the like. But I think I'll have my graphic designer, take the lead on that as well. So come January, she's going to be a full-time employee. So
That's awesome, dude. So you're kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah, taking prisoners.
So just going into the armature that you're building, that Scorpion is how I it just coils. I mean, to design that, you just sketched it up and then you sent it, or you work with the graphic designer, or how's that work?
Me, the graphic designer, and the client work together on it. We gave her some preliminary designs of kind of what I had in mind, and then she shut them all down and came up with her own one, and we kind of developed it all together. So a lot of times it doesn't make much difference to me what it looks like. Whatever it is, my goal is to make it look cool.
So you cut. I mean, you what inside of that? I'm not a metal worker person. I have a welder, sitting there, and I'll do small little things. I love sculptures and whatnot. That's a pretty huge. So you have your thin sheets of metal. I mean, can you run us through how you put that together? I know everybody should know, and I kind of have a notion, but I like the idea of you explaining it through if you could.
So the shape itself, I had printed out on paper, and I transferred that onto some steel, and then marked in tabs that were going to be bent up. And so I cut out 2 of those, bent the tabs up, ran another strip of steel sheeting along those tabs, and then I kind of just wrapped it with more sheet metal, attaching it to those tabs.
Did you get over? I mean, when you cut those sheets and you're wrapping it, I'm sure it can't be necessarily perfect. You're gonna have to do a lot of grind. You weld to fill in spots. I mean, was there a lot of that, or?
I didn't do any welding on the big one. That's all rivets.
Oh wow.
There's some welding on I welded it to the base, but that's it.
Right.
I didn't want to do any welding. I specifically designed it so I didn't have to do any welding, just because it's so damn big,
Yeah.
And welding sheet metal's not easy. It's so thin, it just burns right through. And,
right.
I mean, you can, but I just didn't want to do that whole thing, And then you got to grind it, And so I hate grinding. It's such an unpleasant task. So.
Well, all right.
Stressful. So.
Awesome, dude. Is there anything you'd like to share? We're about to shout out a few people and begin to wrap this up. Anything you'd like to share, or where people can find you? Once again, I do have all the notes below, but in case people are joining right now,
just check out my Instagram, my Facebook. Just go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Probably won't do you any good until December, but I should have a video coming out. I have a video of me doing these copper lighter cases, and that's kind of been my ongoing like R&D project over the years. So I'm on Mark 3 of them, and this is Mark 3. So it's a
nice, dude.
Nice.
2-part lighter case.
Dude, that's a trip and a half.
Yeah. The original ones are just a simple sleeve that goes on the bottom. But I'm working on plans for a Mark 4 where the lighter is permanently enclosed and then refillable. So
you also work with leather. You touch upon that in your channel on YouTube a bit. Again, the link below. You spray paint, like JP was asking you earlier. You do spray paint art as well. I think you dabble in whatever. What it looks like to me is that you're willing to explore the realm.
Yeah. In high school, and I took some college classes. I worked in clay. Whatever it is, don't limit yourself to anything, I guess. Just keep working hard. Stay at it. That's all I do. I need to tone down on my projects for other people, and I need to start concentrating on my own.
Right.
I'm kind of getting tired of making other people's stuff. I need to make some of my own. The project with the female torso has been, I've been trying to get that done for over a year now. I need to buckle down and start making my own art instead of making everybody else's.
So you're itching at this point to focus on things that are building up in your mind, and
yeah,
you got to get that going.
Crazy, if I don't get those ideas and realized, it drives me nuts. So.
All right, so I want to before going over to JP, just to get this out of the way, because I know I will forget. Let you guys know this is the first episode, first show, and what we want to do again. The idea is to showcase folks, makers, creators to YouTube and the community at large that might not be known. Might be known, it makes no difference. The idea here is the madness of makers and people that are creative, and do it laid back. Everybody's a universe of their own. We all have our uniqueness and our insight into the world around us, experiences, and that's what interests me. And since it's the show that I'm starting on my channel, that's why I want to focus on those type of questions, and the reason I picked Adam is because every instance, every photo that he's put out there has inspired me. I get inspired by completely off the cuff things, and I know we all do. We all share common themes. All of us do. So I just noticed, by the way, this is I've been pressing. Let me just tell the crowd out there, just so everybody, because this is part of it. Like I've been pressing each little screen, and I think that when I press a screen, because I don't know yet, every time I press a screen, it goes to the person that's supposed to go, right? But I've kept it on Adam and JP. Is that accurate? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
if you click on Adam, it'll stay on Adam.
Okay, cool. So I was doing that, and every time I'm talking, I just stay on Adam or you. I just realized that now, so I'm babbling on about this whole deep philosophy on the frickin' channel episode, and I'm not being seen. Look, long story short, we're just enjoying a conversation and learning about a maker. So that's what the show is about. Next week, we have Bobby Duke. And you guys know Bobby Duke. He does incredible. In fact, I think JP didn't you do a shout out build in Bobby Duke's?
Yeah, well, I was kind of messing around and done like a mini Maui hook. just to, well, like I just said, just mess around. Yeah.
Well, I thought it was bad to the bone, actually, you know, because it's so impressive if you go watch Bobby Duke's videos. Adam, do you know Bobby Duke?
I don't think so.
He's in the group. Well,
Yeah.
go ahead, JP.
He's got a YouTube channel called Bobby Duke Arts, and he's on Instagram as well under Bobby Duke Arts. Actually, I don't think his YouTube channel is called Bobby Duke, but his Instagram is Bobby Duke Arts, and he made the giant Maui hook from the film Moana, or the cartoon Moana. You know that film with Dwayne the Rock Johnson in it.
Yeah,
and he done all the carving out of it. He made it out of a bunch of 2x4s.
His YouTube channel is Bobby Duke Arts as well. So yeah, just to fill in the blanks there.
But it's that man can carve some incredible stuff. He's very, very talented.
Yeah, so like years ago, I ran into his channel just running into it, and I didn't put two and two that he's the same dude in the group. So it's funny, but he does incredible carvings. You should check it out, Adam. It's actually super inspiring stuff. But again, he works with, I think, a lot of different things, but carving as well. So anyways, guys, so I'm gonna point it over to JP here in a sec, but I just want to say that Harnell Media, the links below, they are the ones that worked on my website, Rockin' Woodworks, which is also linked below. And again, thanking Brian McKnight, Woodworker 631, I'm sorry, for Patreon. And take it away, JP.
Yeah, I want to thank Harnell Media as well, or Steve, because he worked on. He's helping on my website, and he helps on the Makers International Podcast website. You can find me at JP Woodwork on YouTube. You can find me at JP_Woodwork on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at makersinternationalpodcast.com. And while we're on the subject of the podcast, we're doing a giveaway at the moment. And on the giveaway, you can win a year's membership to Izzy Swan's Toolmasters Association. If you don't know who Izzy Swan is, where the hell have you been? First of all, so secondly, yeah, it's a pretty awesome prize, to be honest. I think there's about 2 or 3 days left on it, and we'll be announcing the winner on Sunday's live show. We go live at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time on the Makers International Facebook YouTube page. Sorry. So that's about it from me.
The reason I had a little delay is I started reading the comments over there. So guys, I thank you so much. Actually, I'll say I love this community. There's such a great amount of people with incredible talents and big hearts. So I appreciate you guys coming over. You guys are our friends. We love you. We'll catch you next time. Bobby Duke. We'll get crazy and do it up. All right. See ya.